Hi guys, long time no hear from, been a couple of months. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, and the toxicity between us and how things came to be the way they are. Um, if you're new here, my name is Harley. Um, I'm married to my husband Nathan. Um, we live here in Iowa. We are going through a separation forward slash divorce. Um, he left on November 14th of 2022 after just marrying me September 15th of November of 2022, sorry. Um, my mother-in-law, this really goes back to when I first met my husband. I met my husband when I was 14 years old. He was working at my school. He was also a senior, getting ready, very, very, very close to graduating. He was 19 and I was 14, which legally put him over the age to be with me. I was legally not able to consent, although nothing ever happened between us until he was 22 and I was like 18, maybe 17 and a half. Um, Anyway, when I was 14 years old, I struggled with drug addiction, alcohol abuse, PTSD, depression, trauma, and I have that whole story on another one of my videos here. Um, I was in residential treatment facilities off and on from the time I was 14 until I was 19 years old. My first treatment facility was Genesis west of here in Davenport. That's a hospital. That was my first hospitalization. Um, I came out of Genesis West and went into the Boys and Girls Home. About a year later, I left with my aunt and uncle on my grandpa's side, back here to Rock Island, which is right across the river from us. Um, I was about 15 years old. When I was 16, I again struggled with my mental health. I had started cutting again. I had started doing really bad things. I was back on drugs, and I was seeing my husband at the time still. Um, I had a lot going on. There was just a lot to process as a foster child. I had just been taken away from my adopted family due to jurisdictional issues. Um, my adopted family was not able to complete a full adoption with me because of jurisdictional issues. I was filed as a missing child here in Davenport by my biological father. Whole nother story for a whole nother day. Um, and I was struggling really bad with the transition. I moved in with my aunt and uncle and again started having these problems, like I said, and I was put into a hospital in Rock Island called Robert Young. My husband's mother is a nurse practitioner there, forward slash nurse administrator. Was. She now works for the VA, but she worked there for about 20 years. She has worked in mental health probably longer than 20 years, but she worked at Robert Young specifically for about 20 years. So I had to be hospitalized there. And when I was hospitalized, she saw me come in because she works there. Um, and she was on that like flies to shit, literally. She was not having me and her son together, knowing that I had the problems I had after seeing me like that. She, at that point, changed his phone number for the first of like a million times in his life. She then She then changed the house number um, and the family cell phone number, and told Nathan that he was forbidden to see me. Little did she know Nathan had a driver's license at this point and really did whatever the hell he wants and still does. Um, she told him, I don't like her, I don't trust her. You didn't see what I saw. My husband has always followed his mother's lead. Um, he sneaks, but only when he wants to sneak. Only when it's convenient for him will he sneak around his mother. Only if it benefits him in some way will he sneak around his mother and go against her. So when she found out that I was a mental health patient, she was all feelings towards me were gone. She did not like me from that point forward. Um, I completed my treatment there, went back home, whatever. She made sure that my aunt and uncle switched my school districts so that I could not see him. I would not have to cross the river. There would be no reason for me to be back in Bettendorf. Um, she kept a very close tab on me. Um, I was then thrown back into residential after my aunt and uncle's house. And she again forbade all contact between us. She would return my letters that I would send to the house, or he would just not get them, one of the two. Usually he would just not get them, or I'd get them back. Um, he wasn't allowed to see me, he wasn't allowed to call me, nothing. She will sit here and tell everybody, oh, I love my daughter-in-law, I love my grandchildren, blah, 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 blah. She doesn't care about any of us. She cares about her son and her daughter more than she will ever care about me and my kids. And here's why. She's a snake. I found it out very quickly that her and her entire family are snakes. That woman will look you in the eye and tell you she cares and that she's willing to help you, and then turn around and stab you in the back. She did it to me 1,000 times over again before I married my husband, after I married my husband. She's still doing it now. Um, when he left me after we got married here in November, when he left me, I called her and I poured my soul out to that woman. I made damn good and sure that I told her, I love your son. I don't want this to end. I don't want this to be goodbye. I'm not ready for goodbye. Um, all of it. She was, I'll let him know. I will do my best. I love you very much. Just whatever narcissistic bullshit she could throw in my head, she put it there. Um, about a week later, when he came back home for 6 days, she told us flat out, well, I'm going to take credit for getting you two back together, blah, 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 which my husband and I were like, whatever, do what you got to do, whatever helps you sleep at night. And she's very self centered, very self arranged. She's got no problems being self arranged. She's got no issues telling people that she's self arranged. She doesn't care about anybody but herself, honestly, if you want my opinion. But when he left again, I again reached out to her and told her, look, he's gone again. My heart is breaking. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to cope. Um, and she's like, okay, well, I will, we'll get you some help. We'll find you a counselor. All of the things. The woman has yet to help me. I had to go out and find my own counselor because my mother-in-law, a mental health nurse, could not be bothered to help her own daughter-in-law for favor of a situation in her son. She condones his behavior. She enables him. She allows both of her children Her daughter is guilty of the same thing her son is guilty of. Her daughter abused her wife over and over and over again until her wife finally disappeared. And my sister in law plays victim. I know I said in my last video that we're best friends and I trust her with my life, and I do trust her with my life. That's never going to change. But she's just as much of a snake as her mom. And I've had to figure that out the really hard way. And it's been gut wrenching and heartbreaking. And I've spent the past 5 months wondering what I did wrong when I know I did absolutely nothing wrong. And I'm tired of it. And since then, my mother in law, I've reached out to her because my husband changed his number and like made threats to his mom. Like, if you give her my number, I swear to God, I'll sue you. I'll take you to court. Blah, 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 blah. I'll call the cops. I'll get him, I'll get you for extortion. Shit that he can't do because that phone is in her name now because I gave up the rights to his cell phone when he walked out that door. But he wants to sit here and tell people that I'm toxic and I'm the problem and all this stuff, yet he's sleeping in his mommy's basement while she's out here screwing anything that walks, out on every business trip she can think of, doing absolutely nothing with her life other than tooting her own horn and shoving smoke up her ass, while he's at home not taking his meds, not using his machine. His doctors have gotten a hold of me 3 times in the past month, telling me that he hasn't requested medication refills. He's not complying with his BiPAP. Um, he's got X amount of time before his sleep study doctor drops his case in Illinois as well, which I'm sure they probably already have. Um, but he's completely non-compliant, sitting in her basement. And when I offered to have him committed or at least seen for a psych evaluation, because here in Iowa you can do that as long as you're a spouse and have 2 signatures, which I can get 2 signatures very quickly. And she completely lost it. She blocked my number, told me how selfish I am, that would I want to be back in the hospital? And I told her yes. Yes, I would. If I was like this, yes, I would like to be back in the hospital. I would expect somebody to notice that I was struggling, like I am noticing with my husband, and do something about it. I would not want you to sit back and be idle while I completely lose my shit. No, do something about it, please, by all means. If you see that I can't function on my own anymore, yes, put me back in the hospital. Quickly put me back in the hospital, may I add. Okay, sorry about that. I had to turn on some lights. The sun is also getting ready to rise. I have insomnia, so I don't really sleep much. We're also going to do this like an episode of Getting Dug with High. I don't know if any of you know what that is, but I live in a legal state where marijuana is completely legal, and I do smoke marijuana. I will mark this video for mature audiences, and I will let you all know right now that I do plan to smoke a bowl if you are not 18 years old or above. Actually, I do believe the smoking age is 21. I'm 31 years old. It's never been a problem for me, so if you are not above the age of 21, please click off this video because I am not in the mood to hear from your parents about how irresponsible I am for letting you smoke. See you in the next one. Bye. Go play. As I tell my kids, go play. Love you. And I do love all of you. I do. I love you all. Um, so I offered to put him in the hospital because at one point my mother-in-law got a hold of me and she's like, he's off the hizzy, he's locking my doors, he's jamming my doors shut, he won't talk to me, he won't even look me in my eyes, he's having behavioral issues, I need your help. This woman showed up at my doorstep at 10 o'clock at night with her daughter and my sister-in-law. I went to my kitchen is right over there. This is a two-way wall. This is a wet wall right here behind me. And this is also a wet wall. Um, so I went up to go grab something to drink. The kitchen's right over there. And I look out the window almost every time I pass by because hello, hi, it's a huge window. Um, and I saw my mother-in-law's car and I'm like, no way. No way. She lives in Moline. She's not going to drive all the way over to Davenport, which is not that far, but it's not that close, She's not going to drive all the way over to Davenport just to talk to me. That can't be her. So then I looked out a little further, and sure shit, she was standing on my front doorstep. Josie, I need to talk to you. Can we talk? And I open up the window here behind me, and what do you want? If you come up here, what are we talking about? My children are home. I don't have time for drama. This better be good. She agreed. Nicole was like, nope, I'll be with her the whole time. Don't worry about it. Which, again, I trust my sister-in-law. I'm just allowed to tell y'all like it is. She's a snake. I trust her with my children, and I trust her with my life, but I do not trust her with information at all whatsoever. So they come upstairs, they sit on my couch. I have an office in my house, and I have a couch over there so I can like look at you while I'm talking and doing my work. And I can run my video calls over here and talk to people over there. So I tell her, come on up, we can talk. But I want it completely calm, I want it completely civil, and I want you completely normal. You will not cause a problem in front of my kids. Okay, fine, sure, whatever. We'll be up there in a minute. So I go downstairs, I unlock the doors, I let them in. We come up here, they sit down on the couch, and she begins to tell me, I want to put him in the hospital. I'm ready for him to go get help. Okay, I can do that for you. I'm his wife, I have the power. But you have to be completely ready, because if you're not, I can't stop them from putting him in there themselves once I take him to the ER. That's always an option. Um, she goes, yes, I completely understand. Meet me at the courthouse tomorrow morning at like 10 a.m. and we'll get the process started. And I'm like, okay, but again, I'm not going to meet you at the courthouse unless you are completely certain this is what you want to do for him. This could really mess things up. He could lose his job. He probably needs to lose his job anyway because he's taking care of people that have mental illnesses like mine, and he already treats me like crap. So why should I trust him around people that are like me? If he has no temper with me, he's not going to have it with some random chick that he doesn't know or know the history of. And he knows my entire history and he still can't stand me, apparently. Um, so I told her, okay, I'll be there. I'll meet you there. I will come down to Rock Island County just this once and I will help you. I will get him the help that he needs. I know how to do it. I've been there myself. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what to say. And she goes, okay, thank you. They go back home, whatever. They leave here, get back in their car, and they leave. Um, my sister-in-law, thank you. I appreciate you talking with her. She's been a mess, blah, 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 blah. No problem. We're family. That's what we do. And I'm sorry, yes, we are family. And even if she were to call me today and be like, hey, I need help with this, this, and this because your husband is acting a total fool, I probably wouldn't like it, but I would go help. It's my job. I'm her daughter-in-law till the law says otherwise. But I went down to the courthouse. She never showed. She then proceeded to argue with me and tell me how much of a mistake I was making for doing this after showing up at my house asking for my help to go help her put him in the hospital. Had me drive 25 minutes across the river to go help her put him in the hospital and then reneged on it the minute I parked my car. So I told her, I was like, this is what I was afraid of. This is exactly why I didn't want to come down here. This is exactly why I didn't want to talk to you. This is exactly why I didn't want you asking for my help with him anymore. You're on your own with him from now on. And she goes, that's fine. I've been on my own with him for 34 years. I said, and that's the problem. And I hung up my phone, drove back to my house. Within an hour after that, my husband was blowing up my phone, my email, my Instagram, my Facebook, whatever he could to get a hold of me and tell me to leave him the fuck alone, stop texting him, stop calling his mom. I let it go. He's an angry spirit. I did have some choice words for him, but that's between me and him. I let it go. I gave him the space he needed, and I stopped talking to them for about a week. When I got a hold of them again about a week later, because our taxes came in, and I wanted to know what he wanted done with the funds. If he wanted me to transfer half of them, keep all of them, what did he want me to do with the taxes? And I called his mom. She was at work. And I called her. I said, look, our taxes came in today. There's a hefty amount of money sitting in the bank account. I need to know what to do with it. And she goes, yeah, for sure. I'll let him know. I'll ask him when I get off work. Fine, whatever. Thank you. Goodbye. Um, and I hung up the phone and I let it go. Around 7 o'clock at night, my husband texts me from his mom's phone with a picture that he took on his phone, sent to his mom's phone, sent to my phone from his mom's phone, and then deleted said picture out of his mom's phone so his mom wouldn't find out about it, and deleted the message. This picture was of him and another woman in my bed, in his home with our child. Nathan and I had a miscarriage when I was about 20 years old. I don't talk about it much. I'll get into it in a second. With our dead child's memory box sitting right on the nightstand, and normally it's in the closet, so he would have had to have moved it there on purpose just to take that picture, just to make me mad and upset. It worked. It worked. Little does he know, I am seeing somebody else now, and he was the first person I called. So my new boyfriend was the first person I called, and we're gonna call him Jack. It's because I like that name. His name's Jack. So I called Jack and I'm like, look at this picture, look at this, like, tell me this isn't wrong. And I know I'm married and I know I'm going through a divorce and I know it's over between us, but tell me this isn't wrong. And he goes, no, it's definitely wrong. You know, you and I are seeing each other, but I don't call him up and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing with your wife, and then send him pictures of me doing things to you that people don't need to see me doing. And I was like, right? Like, I'm not wrong. And he's like, no, you're not wrong. In fact, I would save that photo and let him know that you plan to use it in court. And I do fully plan to use it in court, 100%. So we get that all figured out, and he calms me down and he goes, hey, it's going to be okay. So he goes, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. We're going to get through this together. And I tell him, I really hope so, because he has no right to do this to me. And he goes, no, 100%, I agree. He has no rights. No rights. He walked down on you. It wasn't the other way around. I said, that's exactly how I feel. And just to hear that, like, I hope you're watching this. I really hope my mother-in-law sees this. Like, I really hope you know that that is what a man looks like. That man dropped everything, including his job, last week, just to be here with me and get me through this and let me cry and tell me it's okay to feel how I feel and to tell me it's okay to be angry, because apparently with your son, it's not okay to be angry. And I don't like that. I don't like a man telling me how to feel. None of that. I'm not down for that. That's not my style. And I really hope you see this, because you raised a narcissist and a mean, mean, mean man. Um, but anyway, when he sent that message to me, I texted him back and I said, look, I don't I don't want you back. I don't want you back here at all. In fact, if I catch you here, I'm liable to call the police and let them know that I feel completely endangered for my life. And I just want to know what you want done with the taxes. To which he replies, I don't want anything to do with the taxes. Keep them. Do whatever you want. Throw them away, burn them. I don't care anymore. I'm done. I don't care. I said, okay, Mister, you don't care. I'll keep these taxes then. No problem. I'll keep that $6,000. Thank you. And so the moral of the story is, look, that woman, she has her own values, okay? And I can understand a parent being a parent and parenting in their own way and in their own shape and in their own form, and I'm completely okay with that. But when your parenting interferes with my marriage, I don't care if he's your son or not, you're interfering with something that is very holy and very, very permanent. You don't do that to people. I don't care what I've been through. I don't care what Nathan and I have been through. I don't care what we haven't been through, what we haven't been able to accomplish. We were getting there, and I just wanted to make it work. Now, Nathan and I did have a child, in theory. It was a pregnancy that resulted in miscarriage, and it happened when we were very young. I was 19 years old, fresh out of residential. He was 22, very potent, very young. We were very young, very stupid, very naive, very stuck in our ways. Um, and we got pregnant. And I told him in November that we were pregnant and that we were having a baby. But I didn't know if we were going to keep it because I didn't know if I was ready to be a mom. And it instantly made him so angry. And I saw that I had hurt him, and I didn't mean to hurt him. I just needed him to understand that I was still a teenager. I still had the rest of my life ahead of me. I didn't want to be locked down at home with diapers and strollers and play dates and daycares, and I wasn't ready for that. I wanted to live. I wanted to be a teenager and go out and drink with my friends. And I we one night we got into such a very huge argument that I tripped. I fell. I really did. I tripped and I fell. I know that sounds so cliche, but I promise you it's the truth. I'm very clumsy. It doesn't help that I was pregnant and very tired and very nauseous. But I tripped and fell, and I rolled down a ravine. There's a ravine that was right outside of our house that we lived in at the time. And I rolled down the ravine, and it was like an inclined yard kind of. I call it a ravine. I'm from the Midwest. um, but I rolled down that, and it resulted in a miscarriage. It was a very tough time for me. Him and I were arguing. He wasn't talking to me. He wasn't. After the argument that night, I didn't start the process of miscarrying until quite a few hours after. Um, I started having contractions, but I told myself, I'm just stressed out. I need to calm down. I need to take a shower. I need to just sleep. And they went away. The pain went away. But they weren't like contractions. They were more guttural pain. Like if I had to compare them to anything, it was more like period cramps, like really bad period cramps. Um, I went to the bathroom a few hours later and noticed that I was passing clots, big clots. Um, at that point, I would have been about 9.5 weeks pregnant. Um, and I ended up dropping our baby, well, our fetus. I have to call it that, or I can't process it. And I'm sorry, I know that sounds horrible, but I can't call it a baby. It wasn't a baby. It had a heartbeat, yes. Beautiful baby, if you ask me, but it wasn't quite there yet. And I fell down and I had a miscarriage, and I called him from the hospital and I told him, and he didn't believe me. He didn't believe me. It wasn't until he got home and saw all the blood and my period soaked panties and a now negative pregnancy test for him to realize that I wasn't pregnant anymore. Um, and he never fully grieved the loss of our child. Never really did. Um, he walked out of the house and he got drunk. Um, he called me from the liquor store parking lot a few hours later and asked me to drive him home. To which, of course, yeah, duh, I'll come and get you. Um, he didn't really talk to me. He told me he loved me, that this didn't change how he felt. Um, we were gonna be okay. We would get through it. We never got through it. Like, in the end, when we broke up the first time around, when I first got out of residential, we never got over the loss of our child. And I'm sorry that you, if you're seeing this, I'm sorry you never got over the loss of our child. I'm sorry that there's not more I could have done to save the child. And I'm sorry that things went the way they went with our child. I can't fix that. I can't bring that baby back to you. But you cannot continue to use a child that is deceased against your spouse. Ladies and gentlemen, that is cruel. It is so cruel. It was so hard to see that. To know that he was sleeping with another woman, basically in front of our dead child. It just bothers me. And of course, I let him keep that box because that's all he had of our pregnancy. I had 9 weeks with that baby. I got the closure I needed. I gave it to him for safekeeping and for him to do what he needed to do to grieve. And I told him, you keep it as long as you need to keep it. If you ever want me to take it back, I'll take it back. Even if we're not together anymore, you just call me. I'll come pick it up. Or I'll have it shipped wherever I'm at. It doesn't matter. I will come and pick it back up. And to send me a picture like that with our dead daughter's belongings in the background, you're sick. That's sick. You that's borderline child fucking per per you know what I'm talking about. It's borderline ography. It's childography. It's borderline child pornography. I don't care. I don't care. But you don't do that. I don't care how mad you are at somebody. I don't give a shit what I've said to you, what I haven't said to you, what you wanted to hear, what you didn't want to hear. I don't care. You don't do that. That's sick and disgusting and twisted, and only a monster does that. And apparently, he's a monster. But when his mom found out about our child, she basically disowned him. Like, she kicked him out of the house for like a month and a half and would not let him come back. Like, didn't matter what he needed, what he wanted. If he needed stuff out of his room at his mom's, she would bring it to us, but she would not let him back in her house. And I figured out later that it's because she's jealous. She's jealous that she never had what Nathan and I had at one point. Nathan has not always been a monster. There's a part of him that still loves me, and there will be a part of him that loves me the rest of his life. So there's that for everybody. Like, I hope you know, whoever you are, I know your name, I know your face, I know you exist. I know this girl is now using me for clout. She's harassing me. I know who you are. You can stop playing pretend now. I know who you are. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who you are because I've known who you are for quite a while. And the funny thing is this woman is married in a 5.5 year relationship, pregnant with another man's baby, and screwing my husband right now as we speak. Um, he can't even take care of the two children he's got, sweetheart. I really wouldn't get your hopes up. I really wouldn't. But if you want him, you can keep him. I don't want him back. I've got my eyes set to bigger skies, way bigger skies. Um, I'm good on that. So if you're watching this, You can keep him. I don't want him back. I just want what's mine, and I want out of this relationship. I want out of this sick, twisted love triangle that you've got going on in your head, and I want out of it like yesterday. So he is not responding well to me at all at this point. His mother and him, they don't care. Anything they can do to harass me, hate me. She has planted so many things in his head about me. She's crazy. She's on medication. She can't be trusted. That woman has pulled him aside at our wedding, pulled him aside into the hallway and begged him not to marry me. And that if he married me, she would write him out of the will, out of the family will, and make sure that nothing was left to Nathan when she passed away, so that I wouldn't have access to anything. Which, whatever, you can keep your filthy drug money, lady. You're making it off of the pharmaceutical America corporate. Like, I don't want anything to do with that sick and twisted shit. I'm good. You can keep your fucking filthy ass money. But what I don't understand is putting yourself in that situation with your daughter in law. You're supposed to love me no matter what. You're supposed to accept me no matter what. You don't have to like me, but you do have to respect me. And I do demand respect. And she doesn't like that too much. She doesn't like that I run a tight ship with her son. She doesn't like that I am what's best for him. She never has, she never will. I don't think. I don't see it happening anyway. She's a monster. And if you ever have to come to the VA doctor's office here on Locust in Davenport, Iowa, I pray for you. I pray for you. Do not let that woman anywhere near you. Her name is her name is Zood. That's all I'm gonna say. Her name is Zood. Do not trust that woman to come anywhere near you. Anywhere near you. I hope y'all have found this at least somewhat educational. And to this new girl that he's screwing, you got a whole video about you coming your way, sweetheart.